EU equals the 10 horns of the beast. Welcome to the revelation. I love you. Really. This is the best comment I've ever got because it clicked. It clicked. I'm like, oh, the 7 kings. The EU, the 7 kings. And yet then I started looking into that because, because of Revelation 13, that talks about the 7 kings will rise with the 7, or the 10 crown, or the 10 horns, meaning the crown, 10 horns and diadems. And I'm like, oh, it's totally the EU. And here's the thing. And with all these people that are saying all this nasty shit about Israel, I would take Israel as an ally over the EU any day of the week. Oh, I would. And this goes back to after 9/11. I said before that because of Al Qaeda and that whole, I went like researching into this. Like I even bought the Quran and trying to understand this. And one of the biggest things I learned is, and this is why Israel never needs our ground troops, is because their military is top notch. Like they're top notch. They have to be. They have to be because of the circumstances they live under. So, and even, everybody says that, and they've never needed our military ground wise. But we're their only ally. So there's a reason that America says that they stand with Israel, and Israel says, and we're the best friend to America. And they are, because they don't have any other allies. They don't. Like the EU, Donald Trump's been posting about the EU screwing America over, especially on trade, forever. But here's the thing. When I started looking into this, that's why it's like, thank you for this comment. The globalism, which Donald Trump came in, and everybody that supports Donald Trump, needs to thank God for Donald Trump every day, really. Came in warning people about globalism. Do you know when globalism began? It was under Hitler. This book, The War for Man's Soul, was written in 1943. And it's talking about how Adolf Hitler's ambitions for world domination during World War II. Hitler's aspirations were to make the globe a German possession, emphasizing his aim for more than military or political conquest, framing it as a holy war for global supremacy, a holy war. And you know who else calls the war against Christians and Jews a holy war? They say, jihad against us is Middle East. Radical Islam. And who was Hitler recruiting back during his days? Islam. Even though they would never have accepted them because they were the Aryan race, they still were willing to align with them because they wanted the Christians and the Jews annihilated. So the beast, I've always thought, though, I'm like, with the amount of just horrible, horrible stuff they did during the Holocaust, how could anybody think the beast didn't rise? I've been saying we've been living under the beast. We've been living in the season of the beast. We have. But see, it's interesting because globalism started with Hitler. And anybody who knows the Bible knows God's completely against a global system. It's very clear in the Bible, all through the Bible, for good reason, because the biblical God knows that system will put everybody under one religion, okay? So that's just one of the biggest reasons. So, but then everybody just thinks, oh, the Hitler and Nazis went away, and clearly they didn't, because somebody, just a side note, and when I was looking at your comment, somebody I had already replied to had said, it's not a burn to call people Nazis. And I'm not trying to make it a burn. To be a heartless animal like that, good for you, but your days are numbered, like really. But it lines so absolutely up with Revelations. So you're totally, it just clicked for me. Yes, of course it's the EU. That's 7 kings. It is. Because it's Sweden, it's, what is it, Denmark? Sweden, Denmark. Well, the UK left in 2020, but that would be the seventh king. But still, they're over Canada. I mean, the king is through the Crown Corporation. So it's still seven kings. That's where the problem is. And yet they criticize us. They criticize Israel. And then I was thinking too today, I'm like, there's something just not right. And I don't want to say it's about all the people, of course, but you look at, like, okay, in Germany, the Holocaust happened. And then when in 72 or 73, when Israel went to the Olympics, all of their players were killed. And, I had said the other day recently when I was talking about this, that I said, well, that was the Arabs that did that. But you know what? But that happened in Munich, Germany. So, I mean, they were in charge of security. And yet every single one of them ended up, like 4 of them were on the helicopter to be sent home after they already killed like 3 of them. And then they just went in and there was this total breakdown of communication. Like, talk about that same sick, twisted fucking energy carrying on, But that was Munich, Germany. That's why Golda, who was the prime minister then, was like, screw this shit. No, we're going to go in covertly, take all these motherfuckers out. And that's what the movie Munich is about. But look, no, I wouldn't trust the EU as far as I could throw them. But Israel, I would trust. There's a reason these people have gone out of their way to turn Israel to make the American people think Israel is our enemy. No, the EU is far more an enemy to America than Israel is. Israel would absolutely have America's back because they don't have any other allies. That I do know. That I do. Their military is stronger, and because and for anybody that says, "Well, I can't stand Netanyahu," that's fine. We control their leaders, though. We do. He can be controlled. They listen to us. They do, because we're their only ally. They always listen to us. They never just do whatever they want and ignore what any president says. They don't. They always listen to us. But I would trust them, and they would be far stronger than the EU. Like the EU, the amount of times Trump posted about how they've been screwing America over. Of course they have. But the EU, when they formed in 92, 93, the EU itself, all the European nations, that was continuing the globalist agenda. They can say, oh, well, we weren't still under the Nazis. Okay, but you're still pushing the globalist agenda. Because they put us, they were responsible for the Paris Climate Accords and many other things. I mean, but that's where it continued the global agenda, globalism, which that's what Donald Trump came in his first term. He kept telling people, and again, the globalism. When you look into all that, people that know the 17 unsustainable development goal, all that crazy shit, and they've been all on board with that. And so this book basically portrays the ideological battle between global democracy and Nazi globalism, with humanity's future at stake. It emphasizes the moral and political struggle against Hitler's vision of world domination. So then when the EU decided to form, as all allies, and NATO aligns with all that because it's a ton of nations in NATO that are in the EU. It's like, talk about, there's absolutely, where it says the seven kings are in the EU. So there's a reason the book says that, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel, well, enjoy your days that you have left. Because again, the letter to the Church of Philadelphia in Revelations was written for America. America will be protected. But yeah, we've been living under the season of the beast since the days of Hitler, and he brought in globalism. It all lines up exactly with prophecy playing out. What a time to be alive.